Welcome back to It's All Bad. I'm here with Mike and Charlie.
Yeah.
Yep. Welcome back.
This week we have another girl. She likes to party, to put it lightly. I've known her for a long time. I'm surprised she's alive. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good one.
I adore her. She's so cool. She's so endearing. So I don't know, just a very likable person. But what I love also so much are the pictures and you'll see some of them, as we post with the posting of the app, of her having fun being fucked up, are at least they're incredible. They're just, the look in her eye is so just wild that that I'm like, I don't know,
Dude,
for whatever reason it got me itching to be on a bender. But I mean, that's me because I got problems. But no, I was just like, oh my god,
dude,
the
photos could be like the cover of Sublime albums.
Totally,
you know what I mean?
Totally. No, incredible. No, she is definitely the poster girl for the sick one.
Yeah, check it out on Instagram at It Is All Bad, and we'll post a lot of photos that she sent through of her partying with her crew in Isla Vista in the 90s. A lot of white drugs, a lot of acid,
a lot of amazing style,
of Zima.
And just
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram. Find us on the YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Why don't you listen to our podcast sometime? All right.
Yeah. Welcome back. All right. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
You want me? Okay. Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's All Bad. Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's All Bad. I am here today with Keith.
I'm Russ and Danny.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Alison.
And this is Alison. That's Alison.
And who are you?
Oh, and I'm Mike. Yeah,
hey,
that's
Mike.
Right. Still Mike. Still Mike. I think this week. Listen, you guys know Alison much better than I, so I would defer to you to intro her. But it's lovely to have you on.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
I've known Alison a long time.
So I met Keith, and I already made sure he was cool. The way that I met Keith, I got sober in Santa Barbara 15 years ago, but I moved to LA 12 years ago. Single for the first time in 20 years. And somebody convinced me to sign up on OkCupid. So I did.
Oh, and shit!
I got hit up by this bald guy with a bunch of tattoos.
That's amazing.
The best part,
and good taste, if I may add,
and great taste, and we were just meant to be friends, which is cool. But I'm going to be crass, but this is the most crass podcast I've ever heard of. Keith went to Alcove and brought 2 pieces of cake over to my place, and we ate cake and watched TV.
Yeah.
But the piece of cake he bought me was blue velvet. I don't know if you remember this, Keith, but I'd never eaten blue velvet cake before.
Uh-huh.
And then the next day, I took an electric blue shit, and I freaked out.
You swear? Is that true?
On my life, that's my memory of Keith. Is the bluest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Amazing.
So thank you, Keith.
Glad I could be of service.
Yeah.
You could.
God. And also, and noted. That's a good one. Just
it's a good trick. If you want to play it on someone that's never had it before.
I'm just talking about playing it on myself. I love cake.
Yeah.
And I love it when my poop's different colors, as long as it ain't red.
Yeah.
It's a gift that lasts for a couple days. It's pretty great.
I can't. Wow. Al, did that blue velvet cake? It just tastes like red velvet, but it was blue. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. It tastes
like
exactly
blueberries, right, or something?
No, it just tastes.
It's just food. I think it just died.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Allison's from Santa Barbara. What's your drug of choice, Al? Alcohol, right?
Oh, cocaine.
Oh, really?
Oh, cocaine. All the cocaine. I mean,
girl.
I started with alcohol. I'm not from Santa Barbara. I'm from LA.
Right.
I moved to Santa Barbara right out of high school, and I was there till 3 years. I was sober. I got sober in 2005, and I moved out in 2008 back to LA.
Oh, okay.
But I started off with alcohol, but no matter how much I drank, I never built up a tolerance. And I'm a fucking puker.
Nice.
I puke a lot, and I puke spontaneously. And I puked in a dude's mouth before.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not because
I don't
he
know
wanted
if he
you
tells
to.
that story. I have no idea who he is.
Look what you missed, Keith.
Dude.
I moved to Santa Barbara.
We're having soup.
I crashed a frat party. I got fucking wasted. It was the last time I ever drank gin. I brought some dude home and started to make out with him and barfed right in his mouth.
Dude, that's amazing.
I jumped up and went to the bathroom and brushed my teeth and wiped my face off, and I went back to my room and he was gone. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Yeah, that's real weird.
I saw a dude one time throw up and it flew out in the air and he caught it with his hand and pushed it back in.
Oh, God.
I used to, for I swear to God, 10 years, have puke in my fucking bangs because I did this thing after, like, I got so wasted and barfed all the time. I just started on drugs. It was acid at first for years.
I love that.
I love acid, but it would let me drink all night without barfing or getting wasted.
Yeah.
So that always helped. And then that turned into cocaine later. But I would get that drip whenever I did drugs.
Yeah.
And if I ever tried to, I was a smoker forever. And if I ever tried to, like, if I ever had a drag of a cigarette and it hit the drip at the same time, it fucking exploded. And I would always put my hand over my mouth and it would come up straight everywhere.
Oh.
And I would be out at fucking bars and shows with barf in my hair all the time. And
You know what I like?
I've always been surprised when people who have, I love the hooch and who go for it, but vomit.
That's
because
me.
if I was a vomiter, I think at some point I would get sick of that shit and switch it up. And maybe you do, but I'll tell you, that's the thing. The gagger, the Coke gagger, was like, that is a given. Like I am an inelegant cocaine user when I've used it, because like there's going to be a moment in the night where that drip hits the back of the throat.
It's the drip hit,
and I do. It's awful.
Yeah, well,
I can't take it.
I'm just more dedicated than you.
Yeah.
I pushed through it.
I don't know.
That's it. I'm a pussy.
You gotta have the drip. That's how, because when the drip stops, that's when you know you need some more.
You need a little
Yeah.
No shit. I know. Listen, it's a great. The sensation is amazing. When the face goes, in the old days, face goes kind of half numb, and you're like, oh, I'm too young for this to be a stroke, and it feels great, and everything's great, and then the drip hits, and it makes me want to go, bleh.
Well,
But anyway,
I puked from day one, and I puked.
Really?
I've puked on so many people. I puked. A friend of mine from San Francisco wanted me to. She reminded me that we went to Reno in a blackout from San Francisco. Decided to drive to Reno to go gambling.
Oh wow!
And we did. There were 4 of us. I don't remember getting there, but we got there, and I won a blackjack on a slot machine, completely almost blacked out. And Don Rickles was playing at the casino we were at in Reno. And so we decided to go see Don Rickles, and fucking heckled him, which was so bad. Ended up under the table because we were in trouble. And then came out and tried to play blackjack. And I had to barf, but I thought I could pull it off. So I just leaned over my left side and barfed at the table, all the way down my arm and my shoulder on the floor at the blackjack table.
Wow.
And weirdly, I was asked to leave.
That's rude of them. That's rude.
I know.
A little over the shoulder side vom should be expectable if you do elegant.
Right? I didn't barf.
I said, haven't you ever met a senator?
I know, exactly. Right. I think I pulled it off, but I've puked on people in taxis and buses. And I remember in college one time, I went to school in Santa Barbara. I lived in Isla Vista. I don't know if you guys know Isla Vista at all, but it was my playground for a long time.
Is it a little island or no? No.
No, it's the Santa Barbara college town.
Oh, okay.
But it's on the beach, and it's a bunch of fucking like slumlords that charge a ton of rent.
Oh.
So you put like 2 to 4 people in each bedroom, and I was broke, so we always had 4 people in each bedroom. And I had a loft bed. It was a twin bed that I shared with my boyfriend, and my roommate had a queen size mattress on the floor under my bed. And one night I had to barf, and I didn't feel like climbing down the loft ladder, so I did the same thing. I just leaned over the side of the bed. But her boyfriend was passed out naked on his stomach, and it fucking hit his back.
Yeah.
And he screamed. He said it was so hot, and I never moved. I was like, what?
No.
Dude.
That's so good.
I couldn't walk down that ladder. Are you kidding me? I was tired.
Have you ever
Oh, man.
have you ever woken up somewhere and you didn't know where you were, Al?
Yeah, I've probably done it sober, but yeah. Towards the end, I kept a really small circle, so I was either at my drug people's house,
Yeah.
or my dive bar, or a couple shady places. But before that, I did that a lot, or I like, yeah. I passed out in a hotel room one time out in. This is in Reno on another trip. And I didn't know whose room I was in, but there was like 5 dudes smoking meth. They'd taken all the light bulbs out of the fucking room.
Oh, shit.
I woke up at 5 in the morning in a room I had no idea who it was, and there was like 8 dudes smoking meth off of light bulbs.
No way.
Oh, man.
That's great.
Dude, why Reno, by the way? I love Reno. Why Reno over Vegas?
Because I have a ton of friends from San Francisco. So Reno was never real. That trip was planned. We took a party bus up there. There was like 50 of us. But a lot of times I'm the girl that like gets wasted and at 2 a.m. in the bar doesn't want to go home. And if no one's having a party, I'm going to get a car to go somewhere that you can party all the time.
Yeah, that's me.
So,
did you go down to that main what year? What around what time is this?
It was probably in the 90s.
Yeah. So did you go down the main? You go downtown and there's that.
Fuck no. I'm black. I'm wasted. When I go somewhere like a casino, I get wasted as soon as I walk in. And I never go into my room, even though I pay for one. And they find me somewhere wasted when it's time to go home 2 days later.
The best booze casino in Reno that I had encountered was Jim Kelly's Nugget down on the strip downtown. And you can go and get these things called Nugget Buckets. And it's a bucket-sized glass that you get to take home with you, which I never, ever took home with. Like, I'd leave them in the bathroom for the last drink or drop them and have to leave. But you go down there, because we had a friend from there. And, yeah, it's the Nugget Bucket, so it's a double old-fashioned tumbler. And they would fucking give you a meniscus pour of, like, Grant's scotch or, like, pop-off vodka. And you just have those for $3.
Really?
$3. So this was back in the 90s. So we go down there, and like they had dollar tables, So I don't know how the fuck they made money. Well, they're gone now. So maybe that was part of it.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
Dude, I got blind down there.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of casino shit. I've driven in a blackout. This is years ago, but I was in Santa Barbara and I was married. And my ex-husband, who has passed away, he didn't get sober and he should have. He died a couple years ago, but he was a skateboard photographer. He worked for Pebbles, and there was a big contest at the Hard Rock in Vegas. And I didn't go with him. I went with my friend, and we got wasted. And then we met some dudes on like AOL chat, and they were in San Pedro. So we decided at like midnight to drive down to San Pedro and meet him at a bar right before it closed.
That's always a good idea.
No way.
We did, and we were in her. She used to have an old T-Bird, like a '64 T-Bird, and we took the T-Bird and we grabbed these 2 guys. And right at closing time, we're like, "Fuck it, we're going to Vegas." And my husband was there, and I didn't tell him I was coming. And these guys were skateboarders, so they're like, "Let's go to the fucking Hard Rock and party at the bar." And I was like, "Yeah." And we're there for like 10 hours.
No way.
And my husband walks in and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Do you have any weed? These guys want to smoke weed." But I wouldn't hang out with them.
No way.
And I disappeared with these guys, and they ended up being friends with some guy named Dave Carney, who was the editor of Big Brother magazine.
Yeah.
And we just fucking went out for 48 hours on this fucking Big Brother, basically like a Jackass tour of Vegas. And the car broke down 5 times on the way home. It took us 3 days to get home.
No way.
No.
And no one had any money.
Dude, I've had
to fix it.
I married a friend of mine so she can get a green card in Vegas one time. It was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I got married in Vegas, the little Chapel of Flowers.
I can't remember where we got married, but it's like the majority of the times I've been to Vegas, I was high on methamphetamine, and it seems like a great idea, and then you're there, and it just goes south so fucking quick, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been to Vegas probably 100 times, and I've probably slept in Vegas twice.
Yeah. What's the longest you've been awake on drugs?
Probably 4 or 5 days.
Was that on coke?
Oh, I used to do speed too if coke wasn't around. I mean, I'll do it. But speed was fucking weird for me. If I did speed after I got wasted, I would fucking party, then I would pass out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And people would dump shit on me. There's pictures of me fucking covered in Sharpie, covered in fucking like Meisterbrow cans, like making pyramids on me, doing shit.
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes later, I just wake up and do more meth and like do it again for like 4 hours and pass out again. Yeah. I don't know.
That's called the discipline.
But the first time I was up for 5 days, I was with my ex-husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, at a party in IV, and I'd only been doing coke for a few years.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, "You want a bump?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And I went in the bathroom and I was pissed that it wasn't as big as what I was used to. And I did it and it fucking burned, but I didn't give a shit because whatever. And I kept going into the bathroom every time I saw someone go in there. And after I'd been in there, I went in there like 10 times, my ex-husband noticed. He's like, "How many fucking lines did you do?" I'm like, "I don't know, like 10. And he's like, "That's fucking speed, dude."
No way.
Like, I don't know what that means. And he means you're fucked. You're fucked. So... And my first time I did speed was a 5-day run on one night.
No way.
It was pretty good. Yeah. And then another time I went my honeymoon, I invited 6 friends to come with me. Just wanted to fucking party. So my husband, I'm like, let's get a bigger place. I want to invite some people. And he's like, "What the fuck?" Never had sex on my honeymoon, and he brought his friend Tony, who's the drug guy. I wanted Tony to go because he had hookups in Hawaii for drugs. And the first day we got there, I went to the beach, and I'm like, "Tony, get the drugs." And he's like, "I swear to God, by the time you get back." And he's like, "First line's yours, Al." And it was a fucking rail, like fucking huge. And I was yeah, and I did it, and I knew as soon as I was halfway through, I'm like, "You motherfucker!" It was speed, so I made everybody that was there do the same amount, and we were up for the first 3 days of a week vacation on speed, just fucking bummed.
In Hawaii. Man.
I'm the asshole that I'll find anything. I was with an old friend of mine that I used to party with all the time, and it was like 4:00 on a weekday, and we were walking down the street, and there was a fucking 8-ball and a baggie on the side of the street.
Really?
Well, no, but I thought it was, and I brought it home. And we did it all before figuring out it was fucking bullshit.
Nuh-uh.
But I was so dedicated. I'm like, just one more line, it'll fucking hit. One more line, it'll hit. And I swear to God, there was a fucker in the bushes. Like, those assholes.
What do we have?
We thought we...
That's so good.
We thought we hit the jackpot.
We had somebody on who they had been up all night. Remember, they were just asked out, and they found a baggie with some broken crack in it. And they were smoking it. Who was that? Remember? But it was just a button.
Joey Man.
Yes.
That's
Joey
Man.
I got sold a Pebble on Hollywood Boulevard. Or no, what's the one above Hollywood? Franklin. I got sold a Pebble in like '94 on Franklin, just out one night. Just
Franklin, by that pool hall or something.
Not far from there, actually. Yeah, up.
Right.
Well, listen.
Oh, is that
there's nowhere around there
Playboy?
actually.
Playboy liquor.
Playboy near there.
Playboy.
But No, it wasn't near there. It wasn't. It was far. Yeah, Plowboy, because the Y was gone. But we should call it. Who's going up to Plowboy?
Yeah.
But Plop, no, it wasn't. And turns out where I got whatever the fuck the Pebble that I bought was not anywhere near where they did sell speed, but it was right near where they sell Pebbles. And I got a nice shiny one.
And I smoked it back.
But no, dude, it was me and my friend, and we went back and we were like, dude, oh, I don't know. I think we got fucked. And I'm like, fucking let's try. And just, and the rest, and it's just,
I did.
It's just shaving and trying to find ways to do things with granite or whatever the fuck that was, asphalt. And it was just ridiculous. And then, of course, tears,
Here's the thing that's happened over the years is, so back then, fools would just sell, because I remember getting some dope once, some heroin, and like going to, trying to like cook it up, and like there was actually heroin there, and I got it weighed, like, it was like from a dude that would weigh it, and then like we go to cook it up, and there was like something in the middle that wouldn't cook up, and it was just like a rock, and this fool just took a pebble and just shaped it around it, so it weighed, and I was like, fuck, he got us good. But then as time went on, like, fools started getting really crafty with the stuff they were selling, because they wanted you not only to like, because if you get it to where, like, if it's not just totally bullshit, like, I probably bought more dope from that fool, like, when I really needed it, I was like, well, I mean, that pebble dope wasn't, like, I mean, there was a pebble in it, but it wasn't that bad,
Right.
It's better than not having anything.
It is something.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That's why I used to go buy nickel bags of weed down on Hoover and 9th.
Well,
not that weed was good. It was just that when no one was around with good weed, or I didn't have the money, which was most of the time, to get good weed, because good weed, even in the fucking early 90s, was $60 an eighth, 80 sometimes, because it was so novel.
Yeah.
Have like great the kind buds.
$60 an eighth?
Yeah. Dude, 65, like $60 an eighth in 1994, 95 for great weed. Like, and the first time I had it in LA.
Can I tell you a secret? It's cheaper. It's cheaper if you have sex with them.
Had that been an option, I would have considered.
I'm telling you.
No, I'll bet you it is. Yeah.
It's always an option, Mike. It's always an option.
That's the thing. If I have sex with them, the price seems to always go up.
Well, I was never technically a prostitute, but I was always looking for a good deal. So
God.
I found it. I wasn't into spending my own money on drugs, and I usually didn't have enough, so I was creative.
Yeah.
Speaking of being up for days, did anybody ever hear of a drug called Euphoria?
No.
So randomly in the 90s, my friend Chris Davis, not that Chris Davis, I have a Chris Davis of my own from Huntington, came up to visit Isla Vista with a bunch of us. And he told my friend Noelle and I, he's like, I got this new drug. It's called Euphoria. It's fucking awesome. It's like all the great stuff with acid and ecstasy without any of the bad shit. And we're like, just give it to me. Like, no question, right? Took this pill, cruised around Ivy where he partied, went to everybody's parties. We were laughing. Walked Noelle back to our house at like 3 a.m. and went home. And then I started fucking tripping balls and hallucinating like crazy. And I called her. She was a block away. She picked up on half a ring. And I'm like, I can't. She's like, I'm on my way over. We stayed up and watched Ren and Stimpy for 4 days on this fucking drug called Euphoria that nobody had heard of. And they thought it was bullshit. And then 90210 was on at the time. And there was an episode of 90210 and Brandon took Euphoria.
No way.
Fucked up. He got his Mustang fucking story. He got all fucked up. And I was like, you see, it's on 90210.
I've never heard of that.
That's awesome.
Well,
no, me neither.
I think it lasted about 5 minutes. And let me tell you, it was shitty. Even for somebody that likes to be up, it wasn't any fun.
And it's the
only.
Oh, go ahead.
It's the only bad trip I've ever had in my life.
That's the only bad trip you've ever had?
Yeah, and I've probably taken 500 hits of acid. and tons of mushrooms, but I never had a bad time.
Yeah.
Except for that one night on Euphoria. I mean, I've had a bad time. I've done dumb shit. You know, later on with cocaine, there was ugly shit. But in terms of like staying up and not being able to fucking stop being high and fucking out of my mind.
Yeah.
That was the only time it happened.
How long were you awake on Euphoria? I've never even heard of it, but
like 4 days.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Are you hallucinating and stuff?
The whole time.
No way.
Wow.
It was fucking horrible. Like it was better. It was better when my friend Noelle came over and we just watched Ren and Stimpy straight, and like we were hallucinating together. We made a fort in the living room and just fucking people came and went, and they're just like they're fucking out of their minds. Ignore them.
Yeah.
But other than that, mushrooms made me hallucinate. Acid never did. I loved acid. It just made me laugh and drink forever.
Yeah, I love acid.
Oh, but it never made you hallucinate visually.
Mushrooms.
No, acid.
Never.
Really?
Never.
Interesting.
No, never.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh really hard, and I'd get confused. And my friend Greg, the first time I took it, I'm like, how do I know when it's on? He's like, when you feel like your clothes don't fit and you can't stop laughing. And I was like, I'm on acid.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
You feel like your clothes don't fit.
When you feel like your clothes don't fit, you're fucking on it. And I was like, it works. It works. The first time I was in high school and I was in ninth grade. I went to like 5 high schools and I went to 3 of them in ninth grade. I wasn't a very good teenager. But one time in ninth grade, I had a really good friend and we used to ditch school and get wasted all the time. And I tried to call her one day because I decided to ditch school, and her sister told me that she'd taken acid the day before and killed herself. She freaked out and killed herself on acid.
Oh.
And I was just terrified of it from then on. I'm like, acid will make you kill yourself. So I didn't do it. And so I didn't do it until I was 19. And I was with a bunch of my friends. They used to call us the Manson Family. Bunch of dirty skateboarder punk rock kids in Santa Barbara. And they found out they weren't going to get their security deposit back on their house. And so they decided to trash it. And so we all took acid. And I remember my friend, her name's Alison also. We used to call her Butch. But she gave me acid and she's like, you'll be fine. And my friend Ben the acid came on and he came up with this huge machete and fucking knocked the coffee table into like 800 pieces. And then we started throwing shit through the windows, and we trashed every part of that house. And at some point back then, all my friends that were just broke punk kids, they used to go to the free food lines and IV with the homeless people and get food.
Oh yeah.
And
wow.
They would eat everything, but the only thing that nobody would touch that they always gave away free food from was pumpkin pie filling.
Yeah.
So for some reason in this kitchen, there was like, the big cans of it.
Yeah.
Like there was probably like 40 of them in their cabinet and nothing else. So we just fucking got can openers and we covered that whole house in pumpkin pie filling ourselves. And then after smashing out every window and breaking everything with fucking knives and axes that we could, we all decided to find a pool. We ran covered in shit, frying on acid to a pool and hopped a fence, and all jumped it. Like 15 of us jumped into this pool covered in pumpkin pie filling at like 4 a.m.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's amazing.
We fucked the pool up pretty good, but then we had to fucking the next day go back, and the landlady made us clean the house.
No way.
And you know what? Don't ever get into a food fight with pumpkin pie filling if you have to clean it up, because that shit doesn't come off.
No.
It was a disaster. It was a disaster.
You just smeared it everywhere?
All over everywhere, all over everyone. And mustard also. For some reason, it was all pumpkin pie filling and mustard. That's all these guys had left to eat. And those things are fucking gross. But it was the best first night on acid I've ever had in my life. Like, it was the best. My friend kept saying, it's not always going to be like this. Like, you don't always get to do this. Because I'm like, acid's the fucking best. You can do whatever you want. You can just fucking smash shit. But that was the beginning of my love affair for acid, which lasted for a long time.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude.
Acid's so good.
I love it.
It's so good.
Dude, it's awesome.
Never give me a bad shake.
No, never. I never did tons of it, but we used to, we used to go in Ivy. Every apartment was just open, so people would have kegs, and you just bring your own cup and walk into everyone's parties and drink their booze.
Yeah.
So our friends and I would always take acid, go out. There was like 30 of us, so we'd have to stagger ourselves like 10 at a time, or people wouldn't let us into parties. I mean, they already called us the Manson family. We looked fucking shady as shit. And I think like we got like 30 of us got into this place, and then we would buy kegs and bring them back to our place, but not tell anybody. So we'd go drink everyone else's beer until they were gone, and come back to our place and drink for like 24 hours. But all the lights were off, and we used to get into this dumb shit on acid with woolite. Do you know woolite glows under a black light?
No.
Well, it does. Well, it does. And so we would turn off all the lights on acid and just pour woolite over each other and try and make it was
no way.
Creepy.
No, but I'll tell you something. A fun fact. Danny probably knows this, but you know that powdered creamer?
Yeah,
it's flammable.
Ooh, that's fun too.
Yeah.
I wish I had known that before.
Yeah.
My friends used to make those fucking. We had a fireplace at our place too, which was super shady. And when we moved into this house, the address was 6666 Sueño. So of course we took one of the sixes down immediately because that's a fucking no-brainer. And we had this telephone pole out in front that had those hooks on it, and the guys used to fish all the time and put fish heads on every one of the hooks on the phone pole.
No way.
We had a half pipe in the driveway that I tried a couple times, and I can't believe I didn't fucking kill myself. But inside there was a fucking player piano when we rented the place because they couldn't figure out how to get rid of it, and there was a fireplace. So 20 of us on acid fucking took the axe to that fucking player piano.
No way.
And put it in the fireplace. And then we started burning shit. And my friend Brett threw a fiberglass skateboard in there. And then the smoke, there was flames coming out of the fireplace like 15 feet above the chimney. And we used to just get as fucked up as we could to see how high we could make fire come out of our chimney.
Dude. This is in Isla Vista too?
Oh yeah, Isla Vista was like 88 to like 95, and that's where I really got going. Jeez. It was good.
What's the funniest experience you've ever had on drugs or alcohol?
Well,
they're all pretty good, it seems. But.
They're all pretty good. I mean, I remember one time my friend Ian, who's sober now, he got sober before me. He was another Manson dude. We all went to the cliffs in Santa Barbara because we thought it was like cool to drink 40s on the cliff at sunset, and we were all on acid, and there was like again like 15 or 20 of us, and people die off the cliffs in Santa Barbara in IV all the time because it's just a dead drop down like the cliff down to the beach, but it's pretty fucking gnarly. And I think it was Halloween, or it was like right before Halloween. We were all dressed up, and my friend Ian weighs about 350 pounds. And he was Princess Leia, and he had a headband on with cinnamon rolls glue gun to his headband. we were all partying on the cliffs, and at some point we're like, fuck it, let's go home and let's go to the park and see if there's any bands playing. And then we did that, and then we went back home, and we didn't notice at some point someone's like, where's Dog? And we're like, I don't know, we probably went somewhere. And we went home, and my fucking friend Dog, 350 pounds, glasses smashed to shit, covered in fucking like scrapes and blood, and his fucking one of his cinnamon rolls is gone. And he was sitting on our couch. He was sitting on the couch, and he's like, I fell off the fucking cliff, and you guys left me. We didn't even notice. This dude just went backwards. He went backwards over the cliff, and we were so fucked up that nobody fucking noticed. And that was pretty good. And then there's a place called the Nude Bowl. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but like I said, I used to hang out with skateboarders only for a really long time. And the Nude Bowl is out by like 29 Palms, and it's an old deserted nudist colony. And the only thing that's left is a bunch of graffiti and a perfect kidney pool for skating.
Oh, really?
We used to go out there all the time, and it's like super off. Like it's hard to get to, and cars die getting up there all the time, but cops don't like coming up there, but it's illegal. It's trespassing. So there was a bunch of us, and you'd bring generators out there, and like so they could skate at night and just take acid. And we'd be up for 3 days on acid while the guys skated, just fucking dumb chicks hanging out by the side of the pool watching them. But one time somebody stopped at the dollar store and they found something called instant smelly poo, and it was a fucking aerosol can of something that smelled like shit, and it came out brown.
Yes.
Yeah, remember instant smelly poo? So they
I bought that shit at St. Yeah, I mean, I was a kid, but used to buy it at Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
really?
we had a bunch of instant smelly poo, and my fucking poor friend Johnny passed out. He's the only guy that didn't fucking do drugs, so he was the only just straight drinker. So he passed out, and we were all up, and we fucking covered him in graffiti from head to toe, and all he had on was a pair of old man plaid shorts that were cut off, and he was nothing else. And we covered him with a dick on his neck coming all over his face. Yeah, we weren't very cool. Shit, head to toe, and then covered him in instant smelly poo. And then we saw the fucking cop lights come. And when the cops come, everyone fucking scatters, and it's like tumbleweeds and scorpions and shit out there. But you just fucking lay low until the cops go away. And fucking poor Johnny, he didn't make it. And the cops got him, and he had to go to jail covered in instant smelly poo. But the next day we brought like 8 cars there, and everybody just jumps in a car and leaves. And so we were in 29 Palms, and we drove back to Santa Barbara, and we got home, and we're like, where's Johnny? And this is way before cell phones. And 2 days later he walks in, and he had to fucking hitchhike from 29 Palms out of jail.
Dude.
Wait, think about the motherfucker that picked him up. They're like, well, whatever. Yeah. Come on, hop in. You
know? There was another time my friend. A lot of these stories are more like I remember the stories that I was in. I don't remember as much.
Yeah.
But so we, my friend Brett Hammond, he used to get super fucked up. We used to call him Hippie. He's sober now too, but we used to shave his eyebrows off, but only one at a time.
Yeah.
He didn't have 2 eyebrows for like 2 years, and then one time he showed up for a party at our house, and he just shaved both of his eyebrows off before he came over, and he was like, "Fuck you guys." Yeah. And then another time we had a party, and there was some fucking random there, and he passed out so hard on the couch. I don't know fucking what he was on or what he did, but we shaved his head, bicked it, covered his whole head in Sharpie like an 8-ball, drew a big 8 on the back of his head, pierced his ear with a safety pin, and scribbled all over his face. And the dude passed out on our couch, and we didn't know who he was. And he woke up in the morning, and he's like, "Fuck you guys." And he woke up in a house. He didn't know where he was, and he had to he's like, "Can somebody give me bus money?" And he had to fucking take a bus.
Dude.
So
this Swedish agency guy I worked with was telling me in college they had this friend who had like a big head of curly hair, and he passed out, and they shaved it with clippers, like the guys that probably enjoyed his big hair. So then he said they kept drinking, they got a little more fucked up, so then they shaved it with shaving cream and a razor, and then they got a little bit more fucked up, then they polished it with like Mop and Glow, and the dude's hair never grew back.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. That's another thing I'm really glad I didn't know at the time, because for sure I wouldn't have any hair right now.
Yeah.
If you see, like I sent some of my before pictures to you guys.
Yeah.
I had a backwards Raiders hat on for like a year because I shaved my head wasted on a dare at like 2:00 in the middle of the day at work. I used to get wasted at work all the time. Somebody dared me to go in the back room and shave my head, and I was like, fuck it. And I did, and I had I don't look good with a shaved head. It wasn't my thing. So,
but it's 2 years because it's so hard to get past that midway point, right?
For 2 years, I kept that fucking Raiders hat right next to my bed, and as soon as I woke up, I just put it on backwards, and it was my thing. So a lot of times, even if I was naked, I'd have that Raiders hat on.
You ever smoke PCP, Alison?
I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I thought I'd never done heroin before, and somebody reminded me that I'd smoked it back then.
Oh, right.
A bunch of times, but I don't remember doing it. I'm sure I've done a lot more shit than I know I've done.
Yeah.
I'm I'm pretty positive I've never smoked crack. And I remember going to my dive bar and some dude was like, do you want to get high? And I was like, fuck yeah. And I followed him into the bathroom and he pulled out a crack pipe and I was like, I want fucking coke. And he's like, I don't do fucking coke. That's for fucking pussies. And I was like, well, can I snort it? And he was like, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, let me out of here. And he wouldn't let me out. He like stood in front of the door and he was like some fucking crazy dude. So I was in the bathroom while he smoked crack and I'm surprised, but I didn't do it.
Oh man!
But I don't think I ever smoked PCP. It was mostly a lot of cocaine, as much cocaine as I could get. My tagline used to be, "The party's not over till the baggie's empty."
Yeah.
And then anything, like I said, acid, speed, anything that I could drink for like a good 24 hours and not black out or pass out. That's what I would do. Or whatever anyone else had. But
have you ever seen a ghost?
I don't think so.
Oh, good. How about a Martian?
I don't think so.
Or UFO?
You're all right.
I was never a big hallucinator. Like if I was on mushrooms, I would always moved all over the place. Like I like to stare at wood because it fucking like just moved everywhere. Or we'd go down to the beach and look at the cliffs, where my friend fell off of. From down at the bottom, if I stared at the cliffs, there were skulls all over the cliffs that would talk to me.
Oh, that's great.
So
yeah.
I don't know if there's a ghost, but rocks always made skull faces to me. And they always said shit. So I used to, my drink of choice back then too, and there's a bunch of pictures of me with it, was Zima. I kept Zima alive.
That's amazing.
Zima's the best. And when I was using it to get drunk, I used it like tonic water and I'd mix it with gin or vodka.
What does it taste like?
Tastes like heaven. It's like, it's malt liquor that tastes like Sprite, sort of.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like
what
Sprite.
it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember it, but I never tried it.
It's the best day drinking ever because it just goes down so fast.
It's gone now, right? They don't make it no more, or they do?
They just brought it back. I saw it at Target recently, and it was so hard not to buy it. but for a long time, I would get super pissed because I'd go to parties and I would bring like a 12-pack of Zima, and I would always hide an extra 12-pack in the car because all those fucking like you go to barbecues and like the normie thing. I needed it just a day drink with those people.
Yeah.
And it was always those people that were like, "Oh, I've never tried it. Can I have one?" And it's like, it's all I'm drinking. You can't have my fucking booze. So I learned. I learned that there's always those assholes who are like, "Oh, I just want to try one." So I always had to keep an extra 12-pack in the car so that I didn't get mad when people wanted to try my Zima.
Oh, right. Why'd you quit partying?
Well. The last year, my sobriety was fucking dark. I told myself one day, I knew I was a fucking addict. I knew I was an alcoholic. And I told myself in my head, I'm going to stop, but I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm going to stop. Because if I blew it, I didn't want to be accountable. Yeah. So I lasted about 3 days. And then my mom came to visit me from LA. And we went out during the day in Santa Barbara, like down State Street, which is downtown Santa Barbara. And we were just like shopping and getting our nails done. And she's like, I could use a margarita. And I was like, fuck. Should I tell my mom I'm an alcoholic or should I drink one margarita? I'm going to have one margarita. I'm going to have two. I'm going to have a pitcher. First, I don't know. My mom's not an alcoholic. I don't know why she didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after like a couple pitchers, I pretended I had to go to the bathroom. I made a phone call. I met my dude in the alley and I got my shit. And then I came back and I told my mom we need to go to another bar. Ended up meeting this group of gay guys that were visiting from DC. And I'm like, you're partying with us? Brought them with me.
I love the party trains that you just get going.
I was it.
We're going on my honeymoon. Come on.
Oh, I was Julie McCoy of cocaine. I could fucking that was like towards the end. People wouldn't go out with me, like because on a Tuesday I didn't come home till Thursday or Friday, and they're like, "I can't, man. I can't with you. There's no fucking 2 drinks with you." But we went to the gay bar with these guys, got more drugs, and then ended up stealing someone's limo. I don't know whose it was.
Oh, nice.
And so coming back to my house, my mom's with us the whole time. I put my mom to bed in the guest room, and I used to have a hot tub. And now I'm living with my now ex-boyfriend, who fucking hated drugs and hated all of it and hated me. And we turned on the hot tub, and I brought like 4 or 5 gay guys back from the bar, and we had a couple 8-balls, and we were doing them in the hot tub naked until about 6 a.m. And I realized I had a wedding that I was in that day.
No way.
And I was supposed to be at the place to get my hair done and stuff at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, fuck, it's 7.
No way.
Like, I better stop. And I went, and this is the day that I decided I wasn't going to drink or do drugs anymore, right? Now here I am in a fucking hot tub with 5 naked gay guys from my mom's asleep in my guest room. I have a wedding to be in 2 hours. And I went into my room, and my ex-boyfriend just looked at me and he's like, "You're fucking disgusting." And I was like, "I am disgusting." And I had a bunch of Tylenol PM because I was doing coke all the time. And if I couldn't get pills, I couldn't sleep. So I would take a bunch of Tylenol PM to try and fall asleep. And I had like 2 Costco-sized bottles of them. And I just took them all. And I'm like, I'm done. And I woke up like 36 hours later in the ICU.
No way.
Apparently, I thought I was going to fall asleep like a Disney princess and never wake up. First of all, when you start, picture I've been partying for 16 hours and the last 3 were in a hot tub.
Oh, yeah.
I don't look great already, right? So there's no, the person that fucking ate all those pills was definitely not a Disney princess. And then I guess I started choking on my own barf. And my boyfriend, I was in bed with him. I did it. I'm such a fucking dick on drugs. I tried to kill myself in bed with someone else. And I was choking. So I woke up in the ICU and they tried to get me in treatment. I refused to go. I white knuckled it for 93 days. And then my friends, those same Manson Family skateboarder guys, were having a Christmas party. And I was like, I just need a glass of wine before I go. I can't go there. So I drank 4 bottles of wine and called my dude. And nobody would do my drugs with me because they all knew I tried to kill myself on drugs. They were all looking for drugs, but they're like, we can't do Alison because we can't condone her shit. So I did it all by myself. And then I kept going for like probably another year, but there's a really shitty pop punk band from Santa Barbara called the Ataris. I don't know if everyone's ever heard of them. They're fucking horrible. Don't. They did a remake of that Boys of Summer, that Don Henley song.
Oh, yeah.
That was like their hit.
Yes. Oh, that's awful. Yes, I know the Ataris. Yeah.
Okay, that's how low I go on drugs. So the bass player of the Ataris, he's from fucking Santa Maria, and I'd met him through mutual friends and done a bunch of speed with him in Santa Maria before. So I ran into him in Santa Barbara, and we used to do a bunch of drugs together, and like it was no big deal. And I remember one night he had a new girlfriend. She was like 19 years old, and he was 40. And he's like, "Hey, we want to party with us." And I didn't realize what was going on, but they were looking for a girlfriend. And he had a deal with her that he wouldn't cheat on her if they could fuck other chicks, and she got to pick them. So she picked me, and it was great because he had enough money in that shitty band to buy the drugs. And his place was a little fucking shitty place behind the Ataris owned a record store in Santa Barbara. And he lived behind the record store and moved his drug dealer in so that we never had to even make phone calls. And so for a year, I would disappear. My boyfriend didn't even, I still had that same boyfriend I tried to kill myself in bed with. But he just stopped asking questions. He was just, like making sure I was alive. He's like, just text me that you're alive. And so for a year, I would go over there and party with them and fuck them and watch porn and dirty ashtrays and all that shit. And like a year later, I was one night, Chris, my ex-boyfriend, kept blowing up my phone. And they're like, "You don't need to fucking go back to him. He doesn't know you. He doesn't let you be who you are." And I'm like, yeah. They're like, "Move in with us. We'll take care of you." And I'm like, yeah. And they gave me a house key. And I still keep it on my keychain right now to remind me of my good decision. So we've been up for 3 days on drugs, and they both passed out. So I took an 8-ball to go home to pack up my shit while my boyfriend was at work to move in with them. And I did about 12 lines before I tried to take a shower to pack, and I just collapsed in the shower, and I ended up in the the hospital again.
No way.
And then they're like, oh yeah. And that was my thing. I was like packing to move out to start my new cocaine full blown life with this 40-year-old fucking shitty bass player and his 19-year-old fucking girlfriend. And I woke up in the hospital and they're like, you're going to rehab, or my boyfriend just said, you're going to rehab or you're leaving, but you can't come home if you don't go.
Right.
So I went to a 28-day program, and that was the last time I got loaded.
Oh, that's great.
And then like probably 5 years ago, I got a screenshot from a friend, that bass player from the Ataris. I ran into him once at an X show having a cigarette, and he was all sweaty and gross. And he's like, I got a new business. If you want to work for me, you look great. And I was like, oh, I was sober, and he was so gross. 5 years ago, I get a screenshot of the dude who I was going to move in with and let take care of me for the rest of my life. He got arrested defrauding old people out of $120 million.
No way.
Some scam. That scam business he wanted me to work for. He's in prison for 30 years now.
Are you kidding?
No, and his girlfriend, he left on tour, and the deal was they only did drugs when they were together, but he'd gotten her so strung out by that point. He went on tour in Europe and left her, and she sold all their furniture and everything they had for drugs, and when she ran out, she hooked up with some meth dude, and she got all fucking tweaked on meth, and she's in prison now too.
She is too?
So, oh yeah, she got busted for selling meth with her boyfriend. So that was my path, and it was sexy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
But the drugs were free. But I used to do a lot of,
I love that you keep that key. I fucking love that so much. You know?
I'll have it forever, because it was like, it's a fucking reminder of, it takes about 5 minutes for me to make really good choices, you know? And there was another dude in Santa Barbara that used to hang out at one of the bars I went to all the time, and he was older, and he was a golf pro. He had a bunch of money, and he had a lot of drugs. And I used to I teased him for like 3 years. My big wasted thing, and I think you can see from the picture when I was super fat, when my pants were around my ankles, I was a fat drunk, and I used to take my clothes off a lot. Like, I had no business in my clothes, but I would take them off in weird places and not be able to find them. So I would have to find weird shit to make my way home eventually. And so I remember one time I left that couple's house in a tutu and Mike's green Converse, and Mike was like a size 12 dude. And I went the next day to a bar when it opened in a tutu and those Converse and met this golf pro. And he's like, marry me, I'll take you all over the world. You don't ever have to work. And I was like, oh, but he was old and gross. And I used to just do, I used to invite him over when my boyfriend was at work and do fashion shows for him, which was basically just stripping and putting on different clothes over and over again. So he would keep giving me drugs, and promise him I would have sex with him one day, but I never did. And somebody sent me a picture of him recently. They ran into him at a bar, and there's nobody more disgusting in the world. So, yeah, I just was basically about a lot of white drugs and taking my clothes off.
That's great.
Anywhere.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah, I would go out. I went out and pasty sober in the early sobriety too, though. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I tried to keep that party alive. I remember the first time I went to a bar when I first got sober, I was drinking Red Bull, and they used to have it on the gun at the bar I went to. And I was with a bunch of people that were drinking, and every time they ordered a drink, I would order another Red Bull. And I didn't figure out you couldn't drink Red Bulls like that. And I fucking all of a sudden, I had that familiar feeling where there was too much spit in my mouth and I was kind of shaky. And I was like, oh, fuck, are you kidding me? Fucking puked everywhere at the bar. And I had to fucking take a drug test because nobody believed that I hadn't relapsed.
No way.
I'll do anything until I get sick.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm the fucking same.
Any reason to take my pants off, any reason to throw up, it's still in me. But it was
amazing.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. I was never going to go the prison route. I was afraid of cops. I used to do a lot of my shit towards the end because I knew it was super shady, usually at that couple's place or someone's house, but I wasn't. I would do shit in bars. Oh, here's a story that somebody reminded me, a good acid story. In Isla Vista, my Gigi Allen was playing in Isla Vista, and my friends all fucking loved him. I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna go to the fucking Gigi Allen show. He's playing at this shitty fucking club. Walked in, we're all on acid. Again, it's the Manson family, so there's like 30 of us that walk in, and there's probably 40 people at the show, and 30 of them were my friends. We walk in, and this place was so shitty that the dressing room was the bathroom, and my friend Elaine and I had to go to the bathroom before the show. So walked in, saw Gigi Allen, butt-ass naked in red boots, the grossest dick I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's disgusting. And we went into the bathroom, and I went to pee, and I'm squatting, and when I'm squatting, I look down, and there's red pointy boots under the stall coming at me, and I look up, and there's a huge video camera over the fucking stall, and Gigi Allen's trying to videotape me taking a piss.
No way.
And so I screamed. I'm like, Elaine, they're videoing! And then we heard this fucking huge noise, and they locked us in the bathroom from the outside for the show. But Gigi Allen broke 3 microphones off in his ass in that show. It was right before he died. And so the show only lasted like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No way.
So no one could hear us banging on the doors till the show was over. But by the time we got out, 6 of my friends had gotten arrested for fighting. And my friend Elaine and I were on acid, and we missed the whole show. Because we were locked in the bathroom on acid by Gigi Allen.
Yeah.
And that sucked.
He's gross, man.
He was fucking right. He died right after that.
Yeah.
So, but
I had a friend that I got loaded with, and he would stay up. He comes up pretty frequently in a lot of my stories, and he was like, we sold drugs together and whatever, and he would always do like, he never did any dope, he never did any we just smoked a lot of PCP together, but his whole thing was smoking meth, and he just he would find the biggest pipe that he can and would just put a fucking gram in there and take a few hits and would pass it on, and if somebody would be like, hey, can I get a hit? Hey, can I get a hit? He would take the fucking pipe and be like, yeah, you want a hit, motherfucker? And would just throw it at him and smash it on the wall. He was just a fucking asshole. But and he was like a cholo that grew up into punk rock, and he was Greek. So none of it really fucking added up, Keith knows what I'm talking about. But he was just fucking nuts, and he would be awake for 7, 8, 9 days. Oh yeah. And everybody thought he was like a fucking cholo, but he wasn't, Yeah. Yeah,
he was more of a Papa Cristo.
But so he would be awake for I don't know how many days, and then he would go down, and then waking. I've literally pulled this fool out, pulled him into a car, just dragging him through a parking lot at a motel or a fucking Airbnb or a sublet or wherever where we're getting kicked out of, and it looks like I'm dragging a dead body because you could hit him, you could pour water on him, you could it doesn't fucking matter. And then one day we're sitting there, and he loved Gigi Allen, and we're sitting in a place, and we have to be out of there in fucking 40 minutes ago, and I'm trying to get another hey, can I get a late checkout? Can I get another? And they're like, no, we've given you, 2 already. You got to be out of here. And I put on the Gigi Allen, that documentary thing that came out. Maybe it was on YouTube or something, but it was where that, and I put it on, and the second Gigi came on, he would just come to, it didn't matter. He could go down, and then he would just be like, oh, what up? What's going on? And that was my trick to getting this fool up, anytime we had to get out of anywhere, I could just find a busted cell phone or whatever. It didn't matter. The second Gigi Allen came on, he'd be like, oh, what's going on? And he's back. It was the most amazing thing ever.
My friends used to make me go see Guar every time Guar played.
Yeah.
Every time I saw Guar I was always on drugs. I would jump on stage and just fucking get gross. I have so many fucking Guar memories, and I fucking hate that band. They're stupid, but I don't give a shit. I would put me on stage again, and I would in the beginning I didn't know I wore a black shirt. By the end it was white wife beaters and just fucking soak me with everything, and then I would just go out afterwards like that, super proud that I was destroyed by blood and cum at a Guar show. Forever. Yeah, a lot. I'm a fucking ass clown, and it didn't. I was afraid that was going to kind of change when I got sober, and it definitely didn't. But when I was loaded, people like to, they knew that they could use me as like the fucking idiot. I was definitely like the person they could shove out. Like, Alison will do anything, make her fucking do it. And I would.
That's great.
Yeah, like I got dared on mushrooms to like stay in a tree for like 12 hours. And there's a picture of me, and I didn't even know how to climb a tree. So I got up and I just hung over a branch on my stomach, like literally just hung over it, and made people bring me Zima and cigarettes in the tree.
That's amazing.
Zima.
And I never got out, but who lies on a fucking branch, like just hanging over it for 12 hours?
I know, it's brutal.
Why didn't I just?
That's good. That's strong. Someone not to be trifled with. That's strong.
It's more stupidity. It's just like, I have no coordination, and I'm fucking dumb as shit on fucking drugs. And it was probably for like $5, you know, like I can do this for $5. Yeah, I could be in a tree for 12 hours.
That's amazing.
And so I did. Yeah, I used to. My friend Dog, the guy that fell off the cliff, we used to call him Dog because we could give him a cup and we could fill it with anything we wanted, and for $5 he'd drink it. So he was our party trick whenever he was around. And the shit that we used to make Dog drink, we made him eat a potato bug for $5.
Oof.
Yeah.
Bomb came up there.
Whatever happened to him?
More
what do you think happened to him?
I talk to him all the time.
Oh, cool.
He's living in Santa Cruz. He has a screen printing business. He manages a bunch of punk rock bands up there.
Oh, cool.
And
wait, the guy who used to just drink anything on commands, living in Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. If you say that's true, I believe you.
Most of my friends are from Northern California, but Dog was one of the first guys that got sober. And I remember when he turned 10 years, he got a tattoo that says "fuck yeah 10," and then he tagged the next dude from our crew that got it, and I got mine when I was 10. I've got my "fuck yeah 10" tattoo that I got it.
Oh, that's great.
At True Tattoo, and it's a tradition. So, of the Manson family, I'd say about 15 of us are sober, and about 10 of us have died, and 5 people just turned into normal people, and I don't know how.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, but I still am in touch with all those people, and
that's awesome.
Some of them that are partying aren't doing so well, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then there's a bunch that didn't make it, but a good sober crew came out of there too.
That's so cool.
With good stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them.
Get the family on. We should get the Manson family on for a show. That'd be fun to do live.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture of the Manson family. There's a picture of us at the Nude Bowl when we're all together.
Oh, that's great.
There's probably about four of the people in the picture aren't here anymore, but the rest of them are, and we're just like 19 or 20 with no fucking care in the world, eating as much acid as we can find, and waiting in free food lines with homeless people because we didn't. Here's the funniest story, I think, and it's not a one incident. It's a summer, and I call it the summer of cheese.
Nice.
And in Isla Vista, because it's a college town, during the summer most of the students go home, so all the apartments are empty, and you can sublet for almost nothing. And so I found if you want to sublet by the beach, it costs more. But I was like, fuck that. I'm not working this summer. And I found a friend of a friend who was stupid enough to sublet me his 2-bedroom apartment for $100 a month for the summer. And it had a huge yard, and it had horseshoes out there. And a couple of my Manson dude friends didn't have a place to live. And they're like, dude, we'll share the big room. We'll each pay $25 a month. You live in the other room by yourself for $50 a month. And then my friend Justin needed a place to live. And he's like, you guys, I don't have a job and I can't pay anything, but I want to sleep on your couch for the summer. My girlfriend works at the Sonoma cheese factory. She'll send us a bunch of cheese. Can I pay my rent in cheese? And we're like, fuck yeah, we like cheese.
That's amazing.
Go for it. So 2 25-pound wheels of cheese showed up every Friday. And one night, all ate a bunch of mushrooms. We decided that we took all the fucking racks out of the fridge and bought a keg and put the keg in the fridge and duct taped it in there with only the spout coming out. And we had cheese. The only thing we'd buy all summer was like Wonder Bread or tortillas, and we just ate grilled cheese or nachos, and all we drank was Meisterbrow all summer.
Yeah.
And one night when we were wasted, we ate a bunch of mushrooms, and there was a sorority house in construction next door. And my friend was like, I feel like your couch needs to be higher. And I don't know whose idea it was, but we all decided to dress up like fucking burglars. And we're all in black. And my friend Greg was in a trench coat. And we went next door and tiptoed and stole cinder blocks back and forth for hours. And we put every single thing in my apartment up on cinder blocks to get it off the ground, and left it like that. Left it for 3 months.
That's amazing.
Everything was raised like 3 feet off the ground. The couch, the coffee, everything. And that summer we had a TV and a VCR, but we didn't want to pay for cables. And we had 2 movies, 2 VHS tapes. And it was Pink Flamingos and Kiss, Phantom of the Park. And we watched we watched those every day, all day long.
Phantom of the Park is the one where it's like Kiss gets in the amusement park one?
Yes, it's Kiss at Magic Mountain.
Dude, I was so obsessed. I had to beg to watch that. I was like,
no.
My parents were like, we don't know.
It's all we had.
Yeah, so good.
Is it literally
the
a Magic
summer
Mountain?
of cheese?
I think so. I'm not positive. I haven't watched it since that summer, but
I remember
the summer of cheese.
I remember my parents being concerned that it was like too mature or whatever, and then they saw like one scene of it, and they're like, "No, this is fine,
dude."
Well, and also you remember you're comparing it to Pink Flamingos, which was our double feature.
That was a great movie.
Phantom of the Park is G-rated, man.
Yeah, total G. Yeah.
You know, and we fucking identified with being the filthiest person alive. And the people in the apartment building, even though we were the Manson family, they had our own name for us. And we didn't know it for a while. We were the DUs, and we didn't know what that meant, but they called us the Dirty Unmentionables.
Ooh,
that's
good.
And I went to San Francisco one time in the Mission to visit a bunch of my friends. We were at the 500 Club, which was our club in the Mission, which was our bar. And somebody came up to the table, and I'm with all my crew, and they're like, fuck yeah, the Claw's in town. We didn't know we were fucking partying with the Claw this weekend. And I'm like, fuck yeah, who's the Claw? We're partying with the Claw. And my friend Lucy looked at me, and she's like, she looked at them, and she's doing that finger across the neck thing, like, fucking shut up, shut up. I didn't know I was the Claw. And that's what all my friends...
Dude.
Because when I fucking used to drink, my hands would get all fucking deformed, and I used to talk with my hands, but they'd get all fucking super tight and crippled looking.
Like Joe.
And
man.
I was a Claw for like 10 years before I knew it was me.
That's amazing.
And my friend Byron ran in and saw me, and he's like, "Fuck yeah, the Claw's in town!" And I'm like, "Where?"
Dude.
And it's me.
You just remind me.
So.
My first prison term, like this, was at Delano CCF, and it was impossible to smuggle anything out of this kitchen, right? Because they search you coming in and going out, and it was like impossible. Right. And then one day these dudes are like, I worked in the laundry, and these dudes are like, "Hey, we figured it out," and I'm like, "What?" And they go, "Whatever we want." They go, "We'll put it in the trash and put it in the hallway. When you're coming back from the laundry, just grab the bag of trash, throw it in the laundry bag, and bring it back." Right. Like, cool.
Nice.
So the first day, it's like probably like 30 or 40 sausages, right? And they put it like it's the trash in the hallway. I come down from the laundry through the hallway, and I just grab it and throw it in the, like the mesh bag with the laundry in it. I would throw it in there and carry it. So I think twice it was working great. We'd split it up and sell it and whatever. Well, the third day, it was a block of, I guess it was mozzarella. It was a huge block of cheese. It was like way bigger. Like, it was huge. It was probably, I couldn't even tell you how big, but it was, I remember it had the round table pizza sticker on
25 pounds, I guarantee.
You're probably right.
It's a wheel of cheese. Yeah. That's how much they weigh.
But it had like the round table pizza sticker, like it had been donated by Round Table Pizza. So I come and I grab this bag and I go, and I'm like, damn, this is heavy. I throw it in the thing, I bring it back, and then it's it's cheese, so it's dense. Like we don't have knives, not those kind of knives. So we're like, shit, how are we gonna cut it? So we take dental floss, right? And we're cutting it in like pieces like about the size of a slice of bread, but like about an inch thick maybe. And each that piece would be $1, right? So like it was $1 for one of the pieces. So my buddy's upstairs cutting it and everything, and all of a sudden like I see the cops go upstairs. So I like, dude, it was like just none of it worked. I'm like, shit, because I'm like trying to whistle, and I lit something on fire and threw it in the trash can to start a fire to try to get the cop to run back down. But then like this Crip saw the flames and like threw his coffee on it. You know what I mean? Like it was just nothing worked out.
No. Yeah, we weren't getting out of it.
So they catch my buddy Mikey with this giant wheel of cheese. And they write him up and everything. We're sitting there, and he had to go to sergeant's court, and he goes, dude, what am I going to say? I go, listen, just sit down and look at him and say, please, 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 can a motherfucker get some cheese? There's like, but it ruined our whole household. We couldn't rack out of there anymore.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, all I think our summer of cheese did was fucking, I don't think anybody shit for 3 months.
Oh, I bet.
And we all gained about 30 pounds, but it was hilarious. And everybody ended up moving in there, and we put like 4 more like living room sets out in the yard so people could just live out there.
Oh, that's great.
And our neighbors hated us, and then they ended up partying with us, and we got him into doing drugs. And you just make them family. And it's cool.
You turn them out. Yeah, you just turn them out.
Danny's backyard just set up like a living room.
Yeah. We had that at Sueño House too, a full setup with a TV and a lamp and everything on our front yard.
Wow.
You got to have extra living rooms if you're going to have 18 people in a 2-bedroom house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is how we lived for a long time. It was fun, never lonely. Yeah. It would have been a fucking good place to quarantine, or we'd all be dead.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things where all of our fucking shit was so creepy because the dudes, they would dumpster dive at the end of the year when all the students would go home. They'd throw everything in their apartments in the dumpster. So Manson Family had like the official dumpster diving day on the calendar, and we'd go out with our my friend SPs to steal bike parts and put them together and all like get spray paint. We all had the exact same color bikes because they were all spray painted the same ugly green.
Oh, nice.
And you didn't have to drive cars in IV, so we'd ride bikes and we'd like bungee cord egg crates to the front of them and go dumpster diving, and we could fill our whole house with just weird shit. So everything that we had was from the garbage for years.
I'm not mad at that.
Man.
It was
I lived like that, yeah.
It was the best days of my life. Are you kidding? It was fucking great. I didn't even know it at the time, and hanging out with a lot of skateboarders and Powell Peralta's up in Santa Barbara. So I used to hang out with a lot of fun skateboarders. And I remember one day I was my now ex-husband that died, but when we were dating, I was sleeping, and at 7 a.m, somebody started fucking playing some music, I don't remember what, super loud in our room. And I looked up, and it was Tony Alva doing a bunch of speed in my bedroom.
Oh, nice.
And I looked at my boyfriend. I'm like, he's like, do you want me to kick him out, or do you want to fucking do it? And I'm like, well, we're going to do it. Like, he has no memory of it. I've told him of it.
Yeah.
I told him about it at 3rd and Gardner. I'm like, I did fucking speed with you in my room, dude, at 7 a.m. You fucking were in there. And you fucking woke me up. But it was a lot of that shit. Like, down the hall, you never know who it's going to be. Or
right.
Accidentally doing a bunch of meth at 7 a.m. because Tony Alva's doing it in your bedroom, and what else are you supposed to do?
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of times like that. And I've been arrested a few times. I've never been to jail. I've never been to prison. I've spent tons of time in holding tanks. Like I've eaten the food, but I've never worn the clothes.
Yeah.
And one time was for stealing. I used to work at a market in Isla Vista, and all my friends would come through, and it was those old and cash register days. Get wasted at work all day. The rule was you could basically the employees, if you're going to drink or smoke pot, do it in the back. Don't do it out in front of people, we would take acid. I'd take a half of acid before I went to work all the time just because it made it easier. But a friend of mine came through my line and I undercharged her for groceries, and the owner had his eye on me, and he was there was a two-way mirror over one of the registers, and he busted me, and he came down, and this was Butch, the other Alison. He locked us in the cooler, the beer cooler, and called the cops.
Oh, and wow.
We got arrested for
Damn.
embezzlement but moral turpitude, which is my favorite, because moral turpitude on the ticket, I didn't know what it meant. It's depraved behavior. So
wow.
I was arrested for depraved behavior, and I was so excited about that for the longest time. I thought that was fucking great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's on my record. Depraved behavior.
Oh, man, that's so good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And it was super fun. It was super fun those days. It wasn't until I got married and I was a fucking shitty wife, and I started doing a bunch of shitty things. And a lot of these stories where, I said drugs are cheaper if you're naked. I was married or had a boyfriend at the time, and I never really took that into consideration. But I left my husband while he was at work. I had 3 friends come over and just filled 3 cars with as much shit as I could get in it, and rented a studio apartment 3 blocks away without telling him. And he thought I was on a bender. He didn't even know I left him for a week. And
damn,
I lived in a box. They used to call me girl in a box, and I've always been the ringleader and the party's always at my house. And literally this room that I had to move into I had a double-sized futon, and if it was folded out, there was 2 feet on the left to the wall and 3 feet on the end to the wall. And the bathroom was so tiny that it was like a boat bathroom, and the shower was the smallest fucking shower you've ever seen, like probably a shower like on an Airstream or something like that. But the water pressure was so fucking gnarly that if I left my bedroom door open and took a shower, my whole bed would get soaking wet. And I used to have people over there all the time, and we used to have to rotate. Whoever was like doing a line could invite like three friends inside with them to do drugs, and the other 10 people would have to wait on the front porch, and we just rotate them out like that. Like, even though I was girl in a box, nobody else volunteered their place, so we sat around on my soaking wet futon, rotating people in and out doing drugs forever. And yeah, 5 days after I left my husband, I went out and I went to breakfast with some people, and there was some dude there, and afterwards I was like, let's get a beer, and then we drank all day, and then I went home with him, and then it was 10 years later. That's the guy that put me in rehab. So 5 days after I left my husband, I ended up with a normie for 10 years that hated me for a lot of it.
Oh, wow.
And it was really easy to fucking get loaded when you're like, my ex-husband was an alcoholic and a drug addict. So I could do whatever the fuck I wanted. But when you date a normie and you have to pretend like you're sober all the time.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
That's when it started fucking sucking. Like, you know, or when you're like, I just can't go home because I'm too fucking tweaked, and you're just, out for 4 days in a row. It's different. Probably if I hadn't stopped dating alcoholics and drug addicts, I probably would never have gotten sober.
Yeah.
But for a long time, it was good. And those stories. I used to steal cars a lot when I was wasted too, but it wasn't like since high school. But I didn't really steal. I used to get wasted in high school and with friends and order pizza and get my friends to distract the pizza delivery guys and take their keys and take their cars and drive around for like an hour around LA without a license at like 14 or 15. And my friends would trap the pizza guy.
And then come back, and would the pizza guy person still be there?
And I did that. I did that a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I probably stole about 15 pizza guys' cars.
Oh my God.
It was a fun trick. I'm like, you guys see if you can get them in the house, and I'm going to see if I can get their keys. And I didn't know how to drive. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But it was just a challenge to see if I could flirt with a pizza guy hard enough to get his keys and steal his car.
Wow.
And I was pretty good at it.
I mean, good enough where you did it 15 fucking times, you know?
At least.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like you were real good at it.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, that's understated.
Fuck yeah. Well, you figure there's like, a drunk 15-year-old, and pizza delivery dudes back then are what, like probably 18?
Mm-hmm.
You get like 4 like 15-year-old chicks to flirt with a dude. They're pretty stupid. You guys know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard to get their car keys. But I remember one night stealing a car that wasn't registered, had no lights, was like a fuck. Oh, I used to also convince people to make their cars convertibles when I was on acid. And I have assisted in skill sawing the roof off of at least 3 different cars, making them convertibles in the middle of the night. One of them was
definitely cutting the roof off a car. I don't know if it's actually making it a convertible.
Oh no!
Because there's no top. We got to go back.
There was a top. There was a top. It was just in the driveway. I mean, there was a top. You just
so a hard top convertible, right?
So yeah. That's how we got the name the Manson Family. My friend Greg Stone, he had an old '69 Cadillac, and we'd spray painted it flat black on acid. And then that night that we lifted all my furniture on cinder blocks, we decided that the Cadillac had to be a convertible. So we all, in our burglary clothes, skill sawed the roof off of his car that night. And that's one of those huge Cadillacs that has like an ashtray and a lighter for every person in the car.
Yeah, yeah.
And those guys always skated. So there was a bunch of fires in LA. And anytime there were fires, they would drive down to LA because there was empty pools or there was houses with pools they could drain. So there was like 8 of us in this fucking Cadillac, and the dudes were all shirtless in their fucking cutoff shorts. And there was like 3 chicks that, we hung out with skateboarders and thought we were awesome. And the dudes were covered in sweat and soot because they'd been bailing out pools and skating all day. And we were filthy for helping. And we ended up at a liquor store on the way back. My friend Rick, I think it was Valentine's Day, and he forgot to get his girlfriend a Valentine's present. So we stopped at a liquor store so he could get a present. And he ended up with a crotchless bodysuit from the liquor store. But when we were sitting in the parking lot, and somebody walked by, and the 7 of us inside the car, I was like, check it out, it's the Manson Family. And it stuck. So we were the Mansons in that sawed-off Cadillac from then on. And it was good. Yeah, it was fun. But definitely a lot of car stealing, a lot of depraved behavior. But no prison.
Nice.
Do you have any good stories?
Summer of Cheese.
Summer of Cheese is incredible.
The Summer of Cheese was a 3-month-long fucking bender that was amazing. And it was, I don't know, I'm still friends with all those people to this day, but if you look, we didn't want to pay for heat, so we took cold showers or didn't shower or just jumped in the ocean or other people's pools.
Yep.
Ate cheese. My friend Ben would just offer to clean everyone's pipe and bong for them and just scrape pipe and bongs all day for resin. And the rest of us, we just ate acid. It was $3 a hit every day. And ate cheese. And then every now and then we'd buy Kool-Aid if we wanted to be healthy. But really, we just kegs were $23 back then. So you could pass a hat.
Wow.
We could have a party and pass a hat around people we didn't know and get $23 and duct tape it in our fridge. And
so good.
And eat acid. And that's basically what we did for.
That's not bad.
That's basically what I did for about 10 years, but hardcore. The summer of cheese is definitely the highlight.
What was your experience with the Isla Vista police like?
It would have been totally different now. It's totally different now there. I got my friend arrested the one time we went to a party and they didn't have any coke there, and I did a bunch of speed with my friend SP, and the cops came and busted up the party, and we took off on our green bikes and the cops chased us because you can get a DUI on a bike, and I didn't know it. Back in IV, you used to know cut-throughs, like you could go through people's yards and stuff to get home, and I just fucking pedaled as fast as I could, went into a party I didn't know anybody, and dumped my bike out front and laid in the bathtub, just laid there, like I'm gonna hide. And my friend SP was trying to leave with me and probably make sure I was okay. And he got caught by the cops, but we always had dress up parties. So he ended up going to jail in a fucking clown wig and a Hawaiian shirt and these corduroy pants that were like wide well corduroy that were like 8 colors. I think we were having a luau. I don't know what the fucking part. We stole a canoe. We stole a canoe from somewhere, and I think that's why the cops were looking for us, because we found a canoe somewhere and we decided to run down the street with it. And the cops found out, but I made it out. And my biggest experience with the cops in IV was when I got busted that time at the market. They came and handcuffed us in the beer cooler, and they made us walk in IV from the market to the IV foot patrol, which is the police department, which is little, but it's in Isla Vista. There's hundreds of people riding by on bikes, and everybody saw us handcuffed, and all my friends came by. They heard that we got arrested, and they all sat outside foot patrol and laughed at us while we were locked. We were chained up. They thought it was hilarious. They didn't feel bad for us at all. But basically, I got a DUI when I was 18 in LA, but then I moved to Santa Barbara, and since you didn't have to drive there, I was pretty good. I was pretty good. Yeah. Even when I moved downtown, I would lose my car a lot. And one time I had this shitty fucking Pulsar that had T-tops on it. And I drove downtown to meet a friend at a bar, and we drank all night, and I took a taxi home. And the next day I asked my boyfriend to drive me to my car on his way to work. And he was the normie dude that was fucking over it. And he was like, I'm so fucking sick of this shit, Alison. Come on, we got to go. I'm going to be late for work. And I went to the parking lot. My car was gone. And he's like, what? Where the fuck did you drive? And I'm like, I swear to God, I parked there. And he's like, no, you didn't. He drove me to every parking lot in Santa Barbara and then was like, I'm sick of you, and drove me home. And I had to call the cops and tell them my car was stolen. And the cops showed up, and they're like, if you were wasted and you crashed your car and you think this is how you're going to get out of a DUI, this is a felony. And nobody believed me that my car was stolen. And I called my work, and they fired me because they didn't believe my car was stolen. 3 days later, the Ventura Police Department called, and they found my car in Ventura smashed into a wall.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But I was such a piece of shit that my car was stolen, and nobody in the fucking world would believe me. And I gotta be honest, I wasn't totally sure. I didn't drive somewhere else either.
Yeah.
That is epic.
Yeah, but they crashed my car into a wall in Ventura, and I redeemed myself for about 5 minutes.
Wow. 5 minutes.
Yeah. So
that
was it. Not a lot of cop stories, but a lot of stupidity. And I think it ended. Somebody reminded me the other day that in my first year of sobriety, I when I moved, no, it wasn't even my first year. It was probably about when I met you, Keith. Lucky guy. I decided after leaving that normie and moving to LA, I was not gonna, and I hadn't been sober for 20 years. I wasn't going to date anybody that didn't have neck and knuckle tattoos, which is probably why I responded to you immediately, Keith. And they couldn't be over 30, which is probably why we didn't have sex. But I used to let band guys do coke off my ass into my third year of sobriety.
No.
That has never done it. But I don't do that anymore. But I don't know anybody that does. I don't know anybody that does coke anymore. If anybody wants to do a line of coke off of an old lady's ass, let me know.
Well,
I'm sure we'll have some listeners. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have someone that'll be like, "Yo, what's up?" Yeah.
Yeah, you just have them follow me on Instagram. Have them DM me. We can hook it up.
Yeah. What do you do now?
I'm unemployed. I got laid off in March, and I don't even want to tell you my last job. It was so horrible. I worked at Skechers, which is the most embarrassing thing in the world.
Nice.
I kept a pair of Vans in my car to go out to lunch, and if I ever went anywhere after work. But,
that's hilarious.
I got laid off 2 days before the pandemic, and they gave me 6 months severance. So I'm kind of stoked. I'm not working right now, and when I go back, I'm either going to look at working in recovery, or I used to work with developmentally disabled kids for a long time, and I like that. I'm over. Yeah. I want to just do something where I feel like I'm doing something now.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be poor forever. That's fine. I just wanna work with people and not Skechers.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if you
Especially
could.
now.
I don't know if you can, especially ever. When would you ever want to work at Skechers, man? It's as bad as you would think it would be.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm down here in Hermosa Beach, and they're buying up all the property up on PCH for the corporate offices.
They're building a campus. I worked at corporate.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're building.
No,
they own
so obnoxious.
They own everything on like Rosecrans and whatever Lincoln Boulevard turns into down there. I'm blanking out right now, but they have like
PCH.
And there's fools who are obsessed with Skechers too, which I never was like. Not for me.
You have no idea. I gave my cleaning lady 20 pairs the day I left my job, and it was the best thing I've ever done because I used to have to wear them to work.
Do they give them to you for free?
They give you like 2 pair, or like every now and then they'll float you a pair, but they make you buy the rest. But like for super cheap, Skechers are cheap anyways.
Yeah.
So,
how do they make so much money? Honestly, like who sells them?
Fucking old people.
Oh, right. Okay.
Me, but not me.
Kids.
Kids.
WSS shoes, man.
Yeah. Kids. They have like outlets and fucking like those huge warehouse stores where like families will go in there.
But they must be making a ton of money.
And the old ladies.
Oh yeah, they're making a killing.
Oh yeah.
They, before I left, were the 3rd shoe company in the world, right behind Nike and Adidas.
No way.
They passed Puma a long time ago.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Over $5 billion a year.
Wow.
It's gross. It's fucking gross. Yeah, and the people that work there look like the people that you'd think they would.
They're like Orange Housewives, right?
They look like the shoes.
Like Real Housewives type people.
Real housewives, like old ladies with like acrylic nails and like bleach blonde hair and tons of fucking lip filler, and all the dudes listen to Fox News. It was fucking scary. It was scary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're out of there. I'm glad.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks so much. That was great.
Hey, Alison, that was rad.
Great meeting you.
Hey, it was awesome being here. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Thanks, Al. It's great.
Hopefully, we'll get to see you soon in person.
Stay awesome. See you on Zoom, and before I see you on
Zoom, but hopefully I'll see you in person soon. Yeah. All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please follow us at It Is All Bad on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. You can watch us actually tell the stories. And next week we'll be back with a dynamic duo.
Oh yeah, Dank. Yes, the Dank duo. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week.
Bye. Damn. Dude, everybody keeps FaceTiming me.